There's a version of the system that the public are taught to trust. A court hears a case, a judge considers the evidence, an order is made, enforcement follows. Clean, traceable, accountable. Now compare that to what people actually experience on the door. An enforcement agent arrives, claims court authority, demands immediate payment and fees, mentions removal teams, invokes the magistrate's court, and when asked to verify the authority, no court is clearly identified, no court-issued reference is ever produced, no order is shown, only internal numbers, company references, and instructions to call the office. And that gap is the issue, not whether the debt exists. The issue is the corrupt element that emerges when administrative output is presented as if it carries full court authority at the point of enforcement. That's where the system stops being transparent and starts relying on assumption, pressure, and compliance. Yes, hello, welcome to the channel. This is I, Chris, with a K. I hope everyone's well. So let's talk about the production line of authority. The phrase used to legitimise all of this is a liability order. On paper, it comes from the magistrate's court. In practice, it is commonly processed in bulk. Lists are submitted, hundreds if not more entries at a time, minimal individual scrutiny, rapid removals, and efficiency is the justification. But efficiency also dilutes verification, because once a process becomes industrial, errors don't get filtered, they get carried forward. Wrong names, wrong addresses, disputed liabilities, outdated records, or vulnerable people. All of it can move through the same pipeline. And once the output is labelled liability order, it becomes the foundation for enforcement. From that point on, the system treats it as settled, even if nobody at the door can actually demonstrate it. From administration to authority. Councils generate debt. Administrative processes run. A liability order is said to exist. The file is then passed on to the enforcement agencies, and then an agent attends the property. By the time it reaches the doorstep, the language has changed. Court order. Authority to act. Payment required. Goods may be removed, but the substance hasn't often changed. What's being relied on is still administrative data, council account numbers, internal case IDs, some numbers, enforcement company references. These are identifiers. They are not, by themselves, proof of a court-issued instrument. Yet they are presented as though they are. And this is where the criticism lands. Because if the only thing connecting enforcement to a court is a chain of internal references, then what's being exercised is not visible court authority. It's assumed authority. Mickey Mouse warrants. What people mean. The phrase Mickey Mouse court warrants is not a legal term. It's a reaction to the experience of being told this comes from a court, while being shown nothing that actually proves it. No identifiable court record, no verifiable case number, no document that can be checked independently. Instead, call the office, speak to the council, here's a reference. That's not how people expect court authority to function. Real court authority is precise. It can be pointed to, it can be verified. It exists independently of the person enforcing it. When that clarity is missing, people start questioning the legitimacy of what's being enforced, and that's where the term comes from. Not as a claim that nothing exists at all, but as a criticism of how weak the verification comes at the point of enforcement. The language game. Language is one of the most, if not the most, effective tools in this system. Magistrates' court, criminal offence, civil enforcement, liability order, removal team. Each phrase carries weight, but when examined closely, the definitions blur. Is it criminal or civil? Is it administrative or judicial? Is it a court action or a collection process? The answer shifts depending on context, and that inconsistency benefits enforcement, because the one at the door doesn't have time to analyse it. They're dealing with immediate pressure. Pay now or face escalation. Language becomes leverage, and leverage replaces verification, fees and escalation. Now look at how the financial pressure builds. A £75 compliance fee per case. £235 enforcement fee and £110 removal related fee. What may begin as manageable soon escalates into a crisis. And here's the key point. These fees rely on the understanding authority is being accepted. If the foundation is not properly verified, everything built on top of it then becomes questionable. But the system rarely pauses to confirm that foundation. Instead, it assumes it, and once fees are added, the urgency is increased. The person facing enforcement is pushed towards immediate payment, not careful verification. Police, the unquestioned multiplier. Now, when police attend these situations, something critical happens. Their presence legitimises the situation, even if they haven't verified the paperwork, even if they haven't checked the court, even if they don't know the origin of authority. From the public's perspective, if the police are here and not stopping it, then it must be lawful. And that assumption is risky. Police are there to prevent disorder, not to audit civil enforcement processes. But in practice, their presence often becomes a multiplier of authority. And just a side note, police are very quick to say, we're here to stop a breach of the peace. But they're the ones who usually declare it. Now, unless I'm mistaken, I was under the impression that somebody had to phone up or report a breach of the peace and then the police attend it, not for them to declare it themselves. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below, please. But that multiplier in authority can tip situations where the underlying authority hasn't been properly demonstrated. Entry, control and property. The most serious point is what happens when authority crosses the threshold. Once an agent is inside, furniture is discussed, goods are identified, removal is threatened, fees increase. At that stage, the situation becomes physical. But the same question still applies. What is the verified authority of this action? Because entry, control of goods, and removal are not simple steps. They require a clear legal basis. And if that basis cannot be demonstrated clearly, the consequences then shift from enforcement to potential unlawful interference, from procedure to potential liability, the vulnerability factor. The people most affected are often the least equipped to challenge the system. Financial stress, health issues, mental strain, lack of legal knowledge. For them, this isn't a procedural debate, it's an immediate pressure. And when authority is presented, even loosely, it is often accepted, not because it's been proven, but because it feels real enough. And that's where harm occurs. What should happen versus what does happen? A system based on genuine court authority should be very simple to verify. You should be able to identify the court, the order, the reference, the record, without confusion, without being redirected, without relying on internal numbers. But what people often encounter is very different. Verification becomes difficult. Information becomes fragmented. Enforcement say, speak to the council, and police say it's civil, and the one at the centre is left under pressure with no clear answer. What viewers should check? If somebody comes to you and claims court authority, verify it. Ask, which court issued the order? What is the court issued case number? What documents prove it? What exact power is being exercised? And what triggered the fees? Do not confuse court references with council reference numbers, company IDs with legal instruments, being told something without being shown proof, because those are not the same thing. The issue here isn't about the debt, it's authority. More specifically, the gap between claimed authority and verifiable authority. When administrative processes are presented as if they carry full judicial weight without clear immediate proof, that's when the entire system then becomes questionable. Mickey Mouse court warrants emerge. Let me know what you think in the comments. See you in the next video.